Beijing hit by severe floods. Thousands displaced overnight. Beijing did not sleep last night. What began as steady rain turned into a nightmare. Streets vanished beneath roaring floodwaters. Cars floated like toys. Traffic lights blinked underwater, and families clung to rooftops waiting for help. In just a few hours, the capital of China was brought to its knees. Sirens echoed, phones rang with alerts, but for many, it was already too late. This isn't a scene from a disaster film. This is Beijing, and the flood didn't knock. It broke the door and stormed right in. The downpour began just after midnight. By 2 a.m., entire districts were underwater. In Mentugu and Fangshan, homes collapsed as muddy torrents tore through the streets. People were trapped in their cars, in basements, in subway tunnels. Rescue teams struggled to reach them. Roads had vanished. Signals were lost. It rained harder, faster, louder. A month's worth of rain in a single night. Families screamed for help from balconies. Emergency sirens wailed nonstop. In less than 6 hours, Beijing transformed from a bustling capital into a city drowning in silence and fear. The worst hit areas lie in the western suburbs. Mentugu saw rivers overflow, swallowing roads, sweeping away buses, and tearing open sidewalks. In Fangshan, elderly residents were carried out on door panels, soaked and shaking. Thousands fled in the dark, leaving behind everything: pets, photos, memories. Schools turned into shelters overnight. Inside, children curled up on mats, eyes wide with fear. Volunteers passed out instant noodles, bottled water, dry socks. And still, the rain kept falling. Beijing, the heart of a nation, was now gasping for air, one soaked breath at a time. Emergency crews were stretched thin. Roads became rivers. Drones replaced ambulances, and rubber boats navigated neighborhoods. Firefighters broke into submerged homes to search for anyone left behind. Every call for help became a race against time. Parents handed over babies to strangers in life jackets. Elderly clung to ropes as they were pulled from waist-deep currents. One misstep meant being swept away. Every second, the water rose. Every minute, more people disappeared. And through it all, Beijing cried, not in noise, but in the silence of those who had lost everything. The government moved fast. Warnings flashed on every screen. Metro lines shut down, highways closed. Evacuation zones were marked in red. But for many, it came too late. The water was already inside their homes. Officials promised shelter, food, rescue. Helicopters hovered. Soldiers waded through sludge. But the scale was overwhelming. Tens of thousands displaced. Power grids failed. Water supplies cut. Still, people helped each other. Neighbors pulled strangers to safety. A hand in the dark, a voice in the flood. Humanity rose where systems collapsed. Beijing stood, drenched, battered, but not broken. Damage was staggering. Cars stacked like fallen dominoes. Bridges cracked open. Roads washed away like sand. Homes left in ruin. Furniture floating beside family photos. Businesses shuttered. Schools submerged. Entire districts drowned overnight. The economy took a punch. But the real loss was personal. Lifetimes built on quiet streets, gone in hours. Parents carried children through chest-deep water. Elderly clung to balconies, waiting for help. The cost wasn't just in yuan, it was in memories, in safety, in trust. And Beijing mourned, quietly, together, under a gray, weeping sky. Warnings came too late. Sirens wailed only after the streets became rivers. Residents had no time to prepare. Families fled with nothing but their phones and hope. Communication lines broke. Panic spread faster than the water. The forecast had said heavy rain, not devastation. Now, questions echo through the silence. Could this have been prevented? Why were drainage systems overwhelmed so quickly? Why weren't people warned sooner? In the chaos, blame whispers louder than facts, and trust, like the flood walls, has begun to crack. Across Beijing, fear has turned into reflection. In shelters, strangers share stories by candlelight. In quiet corners, families hold each other tighter. The storm didn't just flood homes. It flooded hearts with a sense of fragility. People now speak of unity, of rebuilding not just cities, but trust. Some ask if modern life has made us forget how vulnerable we truly are. As the rain fades, the silence it leaves behind is louder than ever. And in that silence, a question lingers. What kind of future do we want after the water recedes? When the water finally retreats, it will leave behind more than debris. It will leave questions, scars, and hard truths. Will we prepare better next time? Will the warnings be heard, or will history drown us again? The crisis in Beijing is not just a story of floods. It is a mirror, showing how fragile, how unready, how human we are. And perhaps, just perhaps, it is not too late to learn, not too late to change, before the next storm comes, before the next night falls.